Welcome to the 175th episode of News Dump, where we run through the hottest topics in the Lewis County news scene and discuss. I'm local man Aaron Vantile, joined by Chronicle executive editor Eric Schwartz. We're also joined in spirit by sponsors Summit Funding, Shayla's Outfitters, and The Roof Doctor. And we're also joined by a guest, the first member of the Four Timers Club.
I think so.
Is that what we're up to now?
Well, Jared Nightcrawler was a four-timer.
He was staff.
But he was staff.
I need a jacket.
Yeah.
There should be a four-timer jacket.
There really should be.
You can grab something off the Chad swag rack downstairs.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of Chronicle gear down there.
Would you like a women's size small polo shirt or perhaps a fur-lined vest with the Chronicle logo on it?
You had me a fur line.
Chad keeps the line, the clothing line, like updated, but he goes by Alderson's all the time and just buys everything he gets. And so there's like camo Chronicle gear.
You're kidding.
Yeah, no, there's everything.
He's
down
always
there.
working with at Alderson's.
There's a faux fur vest down there. It's like the Chronicle on it. So
I wanted to get my brother a Chronicle hoodie for Christmas. He's a big fan of the podcast, and so I texted Chad to ask if they had any laying around, and he was like, "No, hold on." And then a half hour later, Franklin, his son, and our VP texted me. He was like, "Hey, that new hoodie's ready at Alderson's. Just go pick it up."
Oh, dang.
And I was like, "Damn, you guys are
half
great."
of my wardrobe is branded now.
Yeah. But anyway, Wayne Fournier is here. Did we ever settle the great debate, Fournier?
He won't say it.
It is
Just
not
won't,
settled.
won't take a stance. A true politician.
That's right.
I think we went with Fournier because there's more things you can rhyme with it.
I had a blast rhyming headlines. Yeah.
We'll tell you about it later.
I'd love to hear it.
Oh, we can get into that right now, can't we? You have a new position?
I do. I'm.
This is in no way related to the puns we're going to make later. But you have a new position within the Thurston County government, I believe?
That's right. As of 2.5 months ago, I took a seat on the Thurston County Commission board. So I'm now the Thurston County Commissioner for the newly created District 4 in Thurston County, which encompasses basically all of South Thurston County. It's everything. They broke up the kind of the geographic boundaries by population. So they went into kind of a catchment of 60,000 people by district, which for South County, there's less population. So it's basically like half Thurston County is my district.
That's sick.
It's been fun. I love it. You know, I was mayor for almost 10 years. I was in local Tenino politics for 10 years, and I really loved it. I enjoyed it. I felt like we got a lot of great things done and set the place up for a successful future. But like, I think 10 years is a good time period to be in a position like that, because after a while, you know, it's just, you need new ideas and you need new things to come in. And so I was really happy to get the opportunity to change things up.
Yeah.
And the things that I'm getting to get involved in and getting to learn, it's kind of exciting again. And my brain's starting to kind of work again, you know, at like new exciting things. So I'm digging it.
Was it hard to give up the mayoral office at all?
I mean, physically the office, we had done a big remodel on it, and so when I first took office, I didn't even want to go in there because it was.
I've been in there before.
Yeah, it was nasty, and it was old.
It wasn't so bad after you left.
Well, compared to your office, yeah, it was. It was, you know, it left a lot to, you know, be desired. But we did a big remodel on all of City Hall, and so I built it how I kind of envisioned it, and I really loved it and enjoyed it, and you know, made it something to be proud of. And it wasn't, you know, there were parts of it that were hard to leave, but it was also felt good to leave something that was better than you found it. So like that, I'm really proud of. And I want to do the same thing with the entire county now.
Do you hear from Dave Watterson, the new mayor? Like, does he call and be like, this toilet won't go down? What am I supposed to do?
He does not call.
Okay.
Yeah. We talk here and there, or I hear about, you know, things. I talk to some of the city council members still, and I still want to be involved, but I have set up what we're calling South County leadership meetings, where I'll meet with all of the South County mayors and kind of, you know, keep it at that level where, you know, I can help from the county's perspective, but you have to pull back and be like, hey, this is, you know,
Right.
I'm not here to step on anything you want to do. Let me know how I can support you. I'm here to help if you want it, but you know, that's your decision. So there's no shadow government.
You know, I was going to bring up, do you consider yourself a shadow mayor of Tenino? But since you just brought it out in the open, it must not be true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No shadow.
No,
That's
absolutely
what all
not.
the shadows say. Though. So, but no, for real, you know, you got to, you know, you open the door, you say, and I'm all for sharing opportunities and sharing knowledge. And, if I find out something interesting that I would have appreciated as mayor, as I'm sitting in my county position, I want to share that information with all, as I'm learning things, I want to share that with all the South County mayors. But hey, guys, look at this new shiny thing that I found out about. If you want to do this, I would have appreciated it. And so I'm trying to be the county commissioner that I would have wanted as a mayor for them.
What's been the biggest surprise since you're taking that position with the county?
Oh man, that's a tough question. There's at our meetings, there's a lot more like kind of, I don't know, like animosity or vitriol. There's people that come in and provide public comment that are just public comment is the weird part of it. And I'm sure you guys have witnessed a lot of public comment at
we're
government
familiar.
meetings and things like that. And there's at the county commissioner ones, because you've got, several 100,000 people that you're gathering from. There's a few that come in and they come in and they maybe they've got good points, maybe they've got false points, maybe they've got no point at all, but they go in and they provide public comment, and there's a lot of ranting, and it's like it's tough, especially when you see somebody giving public comment that's great, and you want to be like, oh wait, great idea, but you can't do that.
Yeah.
So you got to let them go through the public comment period, and then hopefully you can find a way to engage them and get their comments into the process where it needs to be to help guide the decision making. But some people will come in and provide public comment and not understand how to get that into the gears of government to make things change. And there's no like magic wand that you can wave when Eric comes in and he gives a public comment statement on something that is, we'd never considered. The whole commission can't just stand up and go, Eureka, you found it, even if it is, and wave a magic wand and change everything. It just doesn't work that way. So public comment, I can see how it is invalidating and unsatisfying. And so people rightly get, irritated with it. And so, you kind of got to be counselor later and afterwards, and sometimes put up with abuse and then create an opportunity to build a relationship later.
Has anybody said anything particularly insulting to you during public comments yet?
I mean, not in any fun kind of way. There was somebody that like alluded to me taking some kind of bribe a couple of weeks ago.
Already?
And I was like, dude, tell me more. Where did you get this? This is great. I want to know. And there's a move, well, you'll find out. And I'm like, okay. So like there's things like that where it's like, it's kind of, I don't know, it's fun, but like, yeah.
My comment, by the way, would just be to beat on the drum of secession of South Thurston County into Lewis
Secession
County.
or succession? We
want
talked about succession, which I set up for.
What's secession?
Secession.
Tenino, the lines were misdrawn. The lines were
say this too loud.
The lines were misdrawn. It should have been, you got to bump that up, like a little north of Little Rock. And so bump Rainier down to Lewis County, Tenino, Bucota, Grand Mound, Rochester. They belong with us. You know it.
So you're talking about seceding and joining the South.
Yeah. Yes. In this situation, yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Lewis County would be the South.
Yeah, I'm sure people in those towns are looking at the current state of Lewis County government and going like, you know what? Like those guys are going to figure it out.
We
like,
want to fight with YMCA too.
Yeah, their budget is doing so hot right now. Send us down there.
Yeah, there has been and is somewhat of a cultural divide between rural and metropolitan areas in Thurston County and everywhere else, right? So Thurston County is a bit of a microcosm, and I believe, and I've advocated for this change in county government to help, not necessarily alleviate that, because I think conflict is good inherently. Conflict has to exist in democracy and in the process, but to like create an opportunity for more voices to be at the table when the conflict occurs. And we make better decision making when we have more people at the table with a diverse set of viewpoints. And when I say diversity, I'm also talking about rural viewpoints. And so, I really do think that the change in county government has created an opportunity for that. And I feel like I'm not going to say I'm the best person in the world for that, because I guarantee there's somebody sitting at home somewhere in South Thurston County that'd probably do a way better job for me. But they didn't run for office, and so I definitely was the best person on the ballot. And
Shots fired.
Yeah.
Wow. So I'm getting out of this that you consider yourself a big states' rights guy as far as local municipalities go.
I believe in local decision making.
All right.
I want to talk about,
yeah.
two things. Number one, you are not just a Thurston County Commissioner, also a firefighter out
Correct.
in Grays Harbor. I know I ask you about this every time you're on, but what's that job? What are you doing?
So I've been in the fire service for 25 years. I started. My dad was a firefighter in Tenino. He was a volunteer chief, and then when I became of age, I became a volunteer firefighter in my hometown, and just my career in the fire service has evolved as I've grown, just like my career in public service has kind of grown alongside it, and education. And so I've kind of run two concurrent career tracks. I've been working for the city of Aberdeen for 15 years now, where I've been a professional firefighter. Before that, I worked for Lacey Fire Department. I worked for the Washington State University Fire Department. And so I love the job. I've done it for quite a while, and it's been a very rewarding career. And I'm able to hold both positions, based on a few different things. The firefighter schedule is a unique schedule where we work. Where I'm at, we'll work 124 on and then 48 off. But then that runs you into a 50-hour work week. So then you get also all these additional, we call them Kelly days, where the city will owe you a certain amount of hours that you get to pay back in your schedule. So based on all my holidays, all my leave days, my Kelly days, I work on average about 7 shifts a month. And I'm able to schedule those in such a way that it has minimal interference with my public official capacity. And I've done that as a mayor for 10 years successfully, and it's working out all right with the county commissioner thing. I'm still, there's still things I got to figure out,
But it's the bribery that ties it all together financially.
That's what really brings it home for me. Yeah.
This is a recent item, and I don't think you mind talking about this, but you announced a cancer diagnosis recently.
I did. Mm-hmm. I did. So, that was something that came up for me is like, it was probably mid to late summer. I was, I'm shaving my face, and I noticed like a small lump on the left side of my neck. And I'm like, that doesn't feel right. And so I just kind of monitored that for a minute, and it, you could notice it getting a little bigger, and I Google doctored it and found out, that those are bad. It's bad to have lumps in places. And sometimes, like you got a viral load, you'll get your lymph nodes swelling, but it hurts. This one, it was a solid mass that was not painful. I'm like, these are red flags. So I go and talk to my doctor, and yep, that's probably not a good thing. So then the course of, biopsies and diagnosis, it was determined that was it was a type of cancer where there was a skin cancer that had migrated to a lymph node, because the lymph nodes are like filters. And so as the skin cancer area had shed off these cells, they end up getting caught in the lymph node filter and then just start growing there. So there was it's called lymphatic invasion of this cancer. And so I, got that diagnosed, got a treatment plan that included 35 daily doses of radiation running concurrently with weekly chemo. So like this morning, I sat for 6 hours in a chair getting cisplatin, which is platinum, getting metal injected into my veins. And nothing cool happens. I don't all of a sudden become Wolverine because I'm injected with
That's
metal.
too bad.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I was hoping I would get some kind of superpower. Like I get put into the radiation machine and a spider crawls in, and all of a sudden I come out and I can shoot webs. None of that's happened yet. But it's brutal where like my neck is currently burned from radiation and I can't swallow. So like eating's hard, but I'm at the tail end of it. Yeah. And it's been a difficult path. and it's been hard to do the treatment, but my body's responded well, and I'm thankful that doctors are able to do the things that they do, and I'm really happy to be almost done with it because it is not fun.
It's working?
It's working very well. Yeah. And then, last month was Cancer Awareness Month for firefighters. January was, and it is the number one killer for firefighters in our country right now. So, just putting out there to the world that, as firefighters, we take on a lot of different hazards. And it's not just, falling through roofs or burning up in a house. It's, there's a tremendous amount of psychological trauma, and we lose people to suicide, heart attacks, and cancer is the number one thing. So, there are laws that, I'll be on the Hill on Thursday advocating for that really kind of lock up what's called presumptive illnesses for firefighters, so that when we do get sick or we do get hurt from the job, that L&I will protect us and our families from those injuries.
Is that legislation looking promising?
And we have really good legislation as it is. Like, Washington is very progressive in a lot of ways that really benefits its residents, and firefighters are treated very well by the state of Washington. But there's always little nuances, like putting together a board of doctors to review the different types of cancers instead of administrators at L&I, and bringing in, for a few years ago, we worked really hard to bring in cops that are exposed to certain types of chemicals that should be eligible for those things, and then fire marshals and fire investigators. So there's always ways that we're looking to improve it.
I thought it was interesting and cool. When you announced it, you kind of shifted the focus over to Bucota's mayor, Rob Gordon. He's got stomach cancer. And I think you described pretty well why you were doing that, and you said he's got a harder go of it than you. Can you talk about that a little bit and why you decided to go that route?
Yeah, so I think it's a good tale of two firefighters, right? So Rob is, he's a diehard Bucota native. He's the mayor of Bucota. He served as a volunteer firefighter in Bucota for 25 to 30 years. It's probably closer to 30. If I don't get the years exactly right, I know he's gonna skewer me for it. But a very, very long time. As a volunteer firefighter, you don't have the benefit of those presumptive illness laws, and there's various reasons for that. It's when you go and volunteer at a fire department, they don't provide you with health insurance. Some of the screening is different. Like some places, when I go in to get hired as a career firefighter, you can't smoke, you can't chew, there's initial screens. So there's different things that happen in the course of a volunteer's career, and they're, typically not as long, but, Rob's a diehard, and he's been there for a very long time, and he's been exposed to a lot of different chemicals. Can you say definitively that that's what caused it? No, but there's a pretty strong likelihood when you're a young individual that's coming down with a cancer that, somebody at 85 should be getting. And so there's really no protection for him. So when that happens, because of the service and sacrifices he's provided for his community, he ends up not able to work, and he's privately employed. He owns a farm and he owns a log truck, and that's how he provides for his family. And when you're going through cancer treatment, you really can't do that. So it's hard for him to make sure that ends are met every month. Thankfully, his cancer treatment is going very well, and he's healthy, and I know he's back to work, and I imagine that's really, really hard for him with what he's continuing to do. I do want to say that I was talking to Representative Travis Couture just 2 nights ago, and he has asked for a $50,000 budget proviso in the state budget to do some planning and studying of volunteer firefighter cancers. And if there's any chiefs out there or city council members out there that have volunteer fire departments, there's little easy fixes that you can do to help your folks. And, just a simple AFLAC cancer plan is like $25 a month that you could provide easily for your volunteers that are already, providing you free labor and risking their lives. So there's things that can be done that just, nobody's talking about.
Is that Couture bill, is that a result of the situation in Bucota with Rob?
I don't know exactly. I don't know if it was on Travis's radar before we started talking about that, but Travis did reach out to me and say, hey, hey, buddy, this is something I put on there. And I said, that is absolutely awesome. That's a step in the right direction. So, props to Travis.
All right. Do you have any other Wayne follow-ups? Or
I mean, I could talk to Wayne all day.
Of course.
I was going to ask at one point if the chairs in the new Tenino City Council, do you guys have those secured to the floor?
So there's no more
tossing
incidents.
Of chairs.
Those were the days.
I thought about duct taping that chair to the floor when you got in here, just to make sure there was no funny business.
I have a really, really cool milk crate of old newspaper articles of some of the trials and tribulations that we've been either witness to or participated in over it's funny to think, like 10 years.
Oh yeah.
12 years.
There was a lot. It was wild times. Tenino is by far the most interesting small community in our coverage area as far as like the news it produces. It's just wild.
Yeah.
You remember when that tiger escaped?
Yeah. That was wild. There was a tiger on the loose in the city that escaped a rave and was meth fueled.
Never mind.
And they found it with like a binky in its mouth from the rave.
Yeah, it was just wild.
But well documented.
I mean, I believe you scuba dived the Corey pool at one point. We've got the Tenino funny money or the Tenino currency, which has spread worldwide, and
it's in the Smithsonian. I never thought I'd be able to say that I was part of something that ended up in the Smithsonian Museum of American History. I still need to go there and take a little visit. That's on the docket of things to do.
I just hope the news doesn't slow down when you're in Thurston County now.
You got to make it bigger.
Yeah, there's got to be more Tenino stuff.
One thing that I've had a talk with the county when we've done our retreats, and I think they're very good at Thurston County's very good about taking care of practical things. Somewhat, I think all our buildings are failing. And that's absolutely scary, and it's appalling. One thing that I was big on in Tenino was making sure we're taking care of our buildings. That's like just fundamental stuff. But including in everything you do, like one thing that's fun. It's like it's really easy when you get into like administrative stuff and bureaucratic stuff to just do the practical everyday, taking care of business stuff. But you can't, when you lose aspect of having an element of fun, then you will lose people and you'll lose trust and you'll lose engagement. And, I was joking, but like when we were in our retreat, when we had like our list of 50 things that are goals, I was like, where's the bread and circus? You have to have something in there that's going to make people, and it's not just, that's not being like, superficial. I think there has to be an element that engages people and makes them, culturally feel like they're in a place that they're part of and engaged in and, want to live in. There's so much external culture that permeates everything we do. There has to be people locally that are creating local culture that's actually engaging and fun and not lame.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
All right, we're already at the 23-minute mark. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Hi, this is Jeff and Julie from Fairway Lanes.
Jeff and I met JASIC of Summit Funding at our bowling center, so when we fell in love with this community and it was time to relocate, we knew we would be calling Summit Funding.
They understand that everyone has a unique situation when buying a home.
He had already helped 2 of our employees get into their own homes. The Summit Funding team exceeded our expectations. It was a seamless experience with great communication from his whole team.
Thank you to Summit Funding for making our buying experience special and memorable.
All right, we're back. Now getting a late segue into news. And our first item, Tenino Park to expand by 60 acres. The Tenino City Park features the historic Tenino Quarry Pool, the Quarry House Community Center, the Tenino Depot Museum, sports fields, a new playground, and more all along the Yelm Rainier Tenino Trail. And with that, they just added a set of pump tracks on its 68 acres of land last June. Now they're purchasing an additional 60-acre parcel of woodlands, according to a news release from the city. These will be used to extend the park's existing trails and will allow visitors to hike and ride on horseback and non-motorized bikes while preserving natural habitat. Wayne, how do you feel about...
you got to ask him what parts he wants to take credit for.
Yeah, which... Is there going to be a Wayne Fournier plaque somewhere in there?
I don't think so. I think it's a pretty incredible asset to all of South Thurston County. And it's, a lot of this started like 10 years ago. There was a kind of some logging started up on the hill above the park, and a group got together called the Friends of Tenino Parks, and they ended up facilitating the transfer of a small parcel right above there to kind of preserve the ridged tree line. And then there was another parcel right on the other side of there that, a lot of us always really wanted to see brought in. And it's like, it was a big dream. Mm-hmm. It's 60 acres, 66, I think, total is a lot. And for any community to have as a park. And then, something that was talked about over the years. And the Park Foundation of Thurston County, it's a nonprofit that does a lot of work for parks, PARC, Parks, Arts, Recreation, and Culture. They do a lot of work throughout the county, and I've been a part of their operation for several years. And, about 2 years ago, we saw the opportunity to engage with, there's an aspect of the Park Foundation called the Angela Bowen Foundation that does conservation grants or endowments. They're not grants. And so they've got a lot of money that they want to invest in conservation projects. And then when the city of Tenino hired on we deem a park specialist, PARC, Jessica Reeves Rush, we put her on that project, and she was built for that kind of thing. That's like, she lives for that. And so she facilitated all the discussions, all the work, wrote everything up, took them on tours, and she's the one that really brought it home for the city. And now, like you'd mentioned, it was already a big park. We already had like a 55-acre park, which is huge. And now there's around a 120-acre park in a city that's roughly about the same size as the park. So it's cool. And then we've been successful in getting a lot of amenities built into that you mentioned. There's a natural swimming pool. There's a community center. But what I think is one of the coolest things is there's a campground. So we can bring in people from anywhere. They can camp there. They can bike on the trails. They can go up into the woodlands. They can swim. They can go into town. So there's a nicely set up system.
I didn't know there was a campground there. How many sites do you guys have out there?
There's a portion of kind of maintained sites that are numbered, and I want to say there's like 13 of those. And then there's an aspect of it where it's just open tent camping, where you can just pitch a tent wherever you want. And it's not bad.
This sounds like the start of a good horror movie. Like, you can go to a small town and it's got a massive park, and you just park and hang out, go to their quarry pool and go into town.
The landmark.
Meet the locals.
Go to the landmark.
And then the swamp thing crawls out of the quarry.
Yeah.
It's just Wayne taking a plunge.
He's like,
I wonder what's down there.
yeah. All right, cool. Next item.
I just want to go camping in Tenino now. It sounds like a good time. I don't know if you want to do that, Aaron.
Well, you're a big camper. You'd probably love it, yeah.
You know me.
Next item, Chehalis man arrested for armed robbery at Centralia convenience store.
It's just extortion now. The attempted robbery was dropped in court today.
This is like the story that keeps on giving, the developments.
No, I mean, it gave twice.
Jeremy Sturdivant was booked into the jail Saturday for first-degree robbery and first-degree extortion after allegedly showing a Centralia convenience store employee a gun and demanding money. On Saturday, he allegedly entered what we think is the Shell station by the Millen Street exit, lifted his shirt, showed the employee that he had a gun, and demanded money. The cops saw the video and were like, oh, it's that guy, and then went and picked him up at home.
In Chehalis, these Chehalis people constantly pressing their crime on Centralia.
It's true. They just keep migrating this way. Perhaps we should consider building a wall.
Or a giant hole. One or the other.
What's the difference between robbery and extortion? Weapon, right?
No. Is it?
I think it's the fact that it wasn't in the original release, but it came out in court documents that he was claiming to have fallen on the floor and was requesting a copy of the video and money. So it wasn't like hey, give me your money. It was like, hey, give me a settlement. I don't know. That's kind of how I look at it.
Hey, give me the evidence to sue you.
Yeah.
I do want to say you guys have a great county prosecutor.
Jonathan Meyer?
Jonathan Meyer is a good dude, and I want to give him a shout out right now because he just he turned in his badge and his gun to the city of Tenino.
Just now?
He did just about a couple weeks ago.
Breaking news.
And so he served for 10 years as a reserve police officer for the city of Tenino, and he was a great asset because he would help keep the department updated on changes in legal procedure and laws, and good dude. Very thankful.
I can say, too, that he definitely didn't do that for the press because he was unhappy with the press, if I recall correctly. Just it being a story that the Lewis County prosecutor was volunteering. I think he just wanted to volunteer and it not be a thing.
Yeah, and there were times in my mayorship where I would be down. It was just him and I were pretty much the whole police department. So, yeah, he's a good person. He's a true public servant.
All right.
I did appreciate how one of the witnesses, back to this extortion and not attempted robbery, just extortion, if anyone asks, we were quoting the witnesses, and I just like that one of them said that he was asking for the money in a, quote, not particularly polite manner. Everyone else said he was yelling, but this witness really put thought into it. He's like, you know what? He wasn't super nice, but...
I liked the part about there were two stories on this. The first one is just like the robbery happening. And
it's just a news release.
Not a robbery, by the way. And then the second one was his court appearance. And from the second story, we got some gems like this line. When, quote, asked about having a firearm, Sturdivant reportedly, quote, said that the worker might have seen the, quote, bulge under his clothing. He then made general thrusting motions and stuck out his tongue.
The last part is not
true. So
true.
no weapon was actually seen.
That last part's not true. I mean, some of the witnesses said they saw the weapon, but...
yeah, they did.
Might be hard to prove. Who knows?
He also, quote, admitted the firearm with no serial number was, quote, built and belonged to him, according to court documents. And now I just kind of want to see this guy's homemade gun.
It's in the first link. We had pictures of the guns.
Or is he just doing another euphemism here?
No, I don't know. I didn't read that.
Well, court documents are unclear.
The court documents are unclear, but there are pictures of the guns. So
his trial is set for February 15th, which is Thursday. They're really just blazing through this.
I think that might be a typo. I think that might be arraignment. So.
Oh, all right. Well, anyway.
As always, thank you for highlighting our shortcomings.
Well, it's time. I was joking.
Pulling up the gun picture?
Yeah, I got the gun.
We were joking beforehand about you being the shadow editor of the shadow editor of the sports department. I like to think I'm the shadow editor of the news department.
Yeah, that's accurate. Fair.
We go live and I correct your mishaps.
Mm-hmm.
Well, only one. There's only been one ever.
Yeah, that's the only mistake I've ever made.
Next item.
As you recall, Police Chief Stacy Denham, last week's guest at the Chamber event this week, definitely didn't tell us that we wrote something wrong about him recently. He was wrong, by the way.
The Chamber event. Good showing by you and Chad.
Yeah, it was fun.
You guys did a great job.
Good morning event.
Yeah. Next item, I-5 Toyota unveils truck for 2024 raffle, benefiting Lewis County Youth Sports. They've done this since 2009. I-5 Toyota, which is part of the I-5 Cars Auto Group, raffles off a car every year. Local groups can sell tickets. I think they're $10 a pop. They're what?
I need to get a ticket.
Yeah, it's a 2022 Ford Maverick with a custom wrap job.
Dang.
If you don't like the wrap job, I think you can take it off.
Got the LED light display on top,
I kind of like
too.
the Mavericks.
They're
nice.
Very utilitarian.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it. I'm not going to go. Never mind.
Well, I mean, maybe you should.
If you should, it should be I-5 Toyota.
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely. But yeah, Ford Maverick's pretty cool. But yeah, it's they unveiled this at the Valentine's Wine Mixer, which was held Wednesday, February 7th. Hot ticket event. Did you get invited?
I was invited.
I did not get invited.
I think everybody was invited. There was like an open Facebook event.
I was not.
You just click attended. Like that's it.
They were like, no.
I think it's a cool thing. They've raised over $1 million, and that's of 2022. So just add whatever the last 2 years totals are on top of that.
Yeah, and they've
cool.
done a good job of keeping it going and making it a big deal. They announced a winner at the Centralia Chehalis football game, the Swamp Cup, which is the second to last weekend of the football season.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Have you ever bought a ticket?
Yeah, I have. I bought a few over the years.
Nice.
I have not one.
Well,
yeah, you probably would have heard about it.
I thought
if
that's
I
where
had.
you got your BMW from.
No, they did not raffle off a 20-year-old BMW at any point during the...
Yeah, I wouldn't put it out of the question.
Anyway, yeah, Wayne, go buy some tickets.
I got to circle back to
will.
the Tenino City Park expansion, though. Are there going to be any structures there? Like we have to build anything? Anything that would require a roof, perhaps?
Not inside there. You have to be careful about building things on parkland, and there's a lot of rules about it. But
something's going to need a roof.
There are some roofs. I've been big on re-roofing. Re-roofing is important. That's the first thing you need to take care of with a building, really.
Yeah,
you
Aaron.
lose the roof, you lose the whole building.
It's
Do you
true.
know any good roofers?
It's
Do we?
know some good roofers? How about the roof doctor, Aaron?
The Roof Doctor is the premier roofer in Lewis County.
That's all you got. Do none of us have the website open?
You can give him a call at 360-736-0246. I just met with a Roof Doctor representative this morning to go over the just like a final consultation on the roof they put on my house.
And it's done.
It's done.
Wow.
And you know what? It's real and it's fantastic.
And you're like dry for the first time in
Are they
several
roof
years.
PhDs or roof MDs? What kind of doctors are they?
That's a good question. It's never been asked. I want to say PhD.
Yeah?
That is a good question. PhDs, but there's a few MDs in there too. Sometimes there's a guy that doesn't have a hammer. He just comes out and looks at it and he's like, you know what your
Diagnoses
problem is? Your roof
And you got the
sucks.
free estimate too, right? He came out, poked around it, and told you exactly how much it was going to cost down to the cent.
He did, and he gave me a low range and a high range, and it came under their top estimate. I was happy.
Oh. Did it
Yeah.
come under their low range?
It did not. No.
Okay, well, let's move
He's not
on.
a miracle worker.
Let's move on.
He's a doctor, not a magician.
They're not the roof wizard, the roof doctor.
But anyway, if you would like a free estimate and to work with a family-owned business since 1959 in the Lewis County area, visit theroofdoctor.com and tell them News Dump sent you.
For half off a roof?
It's actually buy one roof, get one free.
Oh, I see.
You have to have two houses
It's
for it to
not.
kick in.
It's not. I think Summit Funding got mad at us for your deal that you were pitching all that time.
It was a great
You
deal.
didn't vet
though.
it?
Yeah.
You didn't vet the deal?
No, it
we
was
just
a
made it
was
up.
a BOGO.
It was use promo code NewsDump and get your second house free, I think, or get half off your house. I don't remember.
It was a screaming deal.
Yeah. Anyway, our final news item: Southern border, geopolitics, hot topics at Joe Kent's latest event. And we don't have to highlight the actual event. I just wanted to, without reading the story, guess where this one was because the last one we remember was in Skamakaway.
You know what? Are you going to mock him for visiting the Everyman? Is that what you're doing here?
Was this one in Eveline? Did he make it out to Silver Creek?
This was in Yelm, and it was at Doug's restaurant.
Did he stop off in Curtis?
He should have. He's
Riderwood?
not above it. He stops out. Are you just mocking our small towns around here?
It just continues to be hilarious. He was like, our next event is in Skamakaway, a place that only I and 5 people in Lewis County have heard of.
But he drew a crowd.
2 of those people are my parents because I believe they had their wedding rehearsal dinner there.
I'll admit, I had not heard
the
of
same
the
night?
location before.
It was not the same night. no.
Burn!
Yeah, you didn't even know about the Duck Inn.
No, I didn't even know about that whole town. I'd never heard of it, and
Wayne, you ever heard of Skamakaway?
A what?
Yeah, see, exactly.
sounded like a slur.
Well, how dare you? No, it is deep in the heart of Wahkiakum County.
I don't know. Some probably appreciate that he's visiting the more far-flung areas of the district and areas that aren't in the district because Mr. Doug's in Yelm is not in the 3rd Congressional District. However, Rainier is. Rainier, close drive away. So.
Yeah, I guess. It'd be like if Wayne started campaigning in Onalaska or something.
You're welcome to, by the
I
way.
love on Alaska.
I would do what do they call it when politicians come to your house and you invite people over? It's kind of like a meet and greet.
Yeah.
If you need one in Centralia, hit me up.
Hell yeah.
We'll have some great appetizers.
Will you?
Well, best I can find
Totino's Pizza
at
Rolls.
Fuller's Shopping Cart. Not a sponsor, just a big
Corolla
fan.
bars and
Yeah, probably. And there's some cheese in there. There's always going to be some cheese in the mix.
yeah. All right. Let's see. We have had our main ad break. We've covered the Roof Doctor. We're going to move on to segments now, and we didn't prep for this very
We are
heavily.
wholly unprepared.
So first up, we've got a column in Tales from the Takes page from Julie McDonald, and her column is titled Leslie Llewellyn. Is that right?
I think so. Llewellyn.
She says abortion discussion needs more focus on compassion. I mean, she's right. I don't disagree.
Yeah. This is part of Julie's 2 or 3-parter with Llewellyn. Llewellyn?
How's it spelled?
Lewallen.
Llewellyn.
Yeah, we'll go with Llewellyn. But she's done a multi-parter with her. She's done a multi-parter with the incumbent Congresswoman, Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez, and she's done a multi-parter with Joe Kent.
Yeah. Leslie Llewellyn, of course, is the French stepmother of country superstar Morgan Wallen.
I think everyone knows that.
Yeah.
He dropped the le.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
What a great joke, Aaron. I'm glad you did that one.
I'm glad you
He
picked
pulled
up on
that
that.
out of nowhere. I liked it. Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah,
You.
yeah.
You just don't
It was good.
appreciate good
It
art.
was fine.
Anyway, I haven't looked at the rest of the opinion page, obviously.
There was a good editorial that was just highlighting the contributions of Anil Puri, Twin Cities Rotarian.
Right, of course.
I thought that one was really good. What else do we got here? Senator John Braun. So we fell behind on John Braun columns. He writes a weekly column for us during the legislative
as I've
session.
said before, you can keep up online at his John Braun's log blog.
I don't know what that means.
It's the blog he posts online about his clearing of the hill next to
I
Yardbirds.
see. I don't think that's a real thing. So we had a John Braun column in every edition of the paper last week because I had to get caught back up before everything was not relevant. So he was in on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and I only got 2 emails questioning me as to what was going on with that. So that was fun. Yeah, that's pretty much it. There's some letters in there, some things.
We've got a letter to the editor titled Marie Glusenkamp Perez isn't a moderate. I don't know. She just lists off a bunch of dates and votes.
Yeah, a lot of dates and votes in there.
Sure. I think maybe this person just doesn't know what a moderate is.
I don't know if
Hot take.
It could be.
Everyone thinks they're a moderate. That's the funny part.
Yeah.
You know,
Right,
like
because your
everybody
views
thinks,
and your
I'm
views
middle.
only.
I'm middle class.
Yeah.
Well, everybody
thinks they're
assumes they're a middle
everybody
class,
thinks they're
rational
moderate.
person.
Yeah.
When everybody really
Everybody
knows
is
that
the
I am
hero
the only one
of
who
their
is.
own story.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the three of us can just accept that we're all moderates.
Yeah.
The only moderates, possibly.
Yeah, perhaps.
Everyone else is extreme.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, that's the long and short of it from the opinion page.
Let's see. Yeah, I got a lot of John Braun on the opinion page.
I told
At least
you.
you used different pictures to
I
go
was
along
out
with
for
it.
3 weeks, and they do have different pictures.
He's always got his right arm, and he's either pointing or resting his hand.
Oh, man, I didn't notice that till you said that.
Doesn't wear a tie a lot either.
All 3 of those photos are different, by the way. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
What do you propose he does with his hand if he's not resting it or waving it?
He should have a tie so we can adjust it.
I don't know. Ties are out. I was told ties are out.
Are bow ties out yet? That fad, I just could not.
It was
ever
not a
get
great
behind
fad.
it.
I agree.
I've
don't know.
never liked bow ties.
I'm a Roland Thompson.
Some people
at
pull
the
it
state
off.
legislature. He's a bow tie man, and I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
He
when
represents
somebody
the media.
pulls it off, I'm like, yes. My hat's off to you. But it's just never been something I could do.
Do you think it's something that you have to go all in on? You can't just be an occasional bow tie guy. That's got to be like part of your thing, or
I
do
think
you
so.
think that's the turn
It
off?
just has to fit into your bigger like swag.
Got I've never
your
worn a
bigger
bow tie.
vibe. Ever in your entire life?
No, I mean maybe when I was a child.
You never
I don't know.
experimented in bow tie?
I've never experimented. No, no, I'm a
He's a
bit
straight
of
shooter, Wayne.
a traditionalist.
Yeah, I kind of with Wayne. Like, you can't just dip your toe into the bow tie game. You got to go whole hog.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about skinny ties and also long ties? I'm thinking the Donald Trump, the big
Skinny
long
ties,
and
yes.
deep.
Long ties, no.
Not a long time guy.
No.
It's very thinning, you know.
I mean, I wouldn't know.
I get weird. The tie has to cover the buttons on the shirt.
Yeah,
I
that's
agree
the
with
point.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what about the fly? What's going to cover the fly if it's not your tie?
I mean, this is how wide is the tie? You
The
know?
point of the tie is not to cover the buttons. The point of ties goes back way longer than that. And it starts in it was a part of military uniforms in the Austro-Hungarian 14th century.
Did they serve a purpose?
Uniforms. No, it just became a fashionable thing. At first, it probably served a purpose, but then it got into high fashion and the French courts of the.
I wasn't expecting to have an intellectual convection about ties.
Are you
but I'm glad
trying to
I'm glad we
filibuster
did.
with a long history lesson? Do I look like
I
a
just keep
certain
talking.
disgraced Fox News headliner to you?
I'm just trying to occupy as much of your time during this podcast as I can.
Sirens Banger of the Week. I don't know. We kind of already covered.
We had a good one. There was she was described as a transient, not really relevant to the story though. She was down there at on what we would call West Reynolds, but that one letter writer would get really upset because there's not technically a West Reynolds.
You can just call it Reynolds.
Call it Reynolds. Down at Reynolds, and I believe that road that comes out of the no, it was Johnson Road in Reynolds. I'll try to orient you to the space. There's it's right there where you would turn off to Uncle Ando's, also not a sponsor. Something that you're very proud of.
So yeah,
Anyway,
I'm
she
aware.
stopped traffic and was waving her arms down and was very upset. And the cop showed up and talked to her, and she was like, "This should be a 4-way stop." So she was just
got a
trying to
point.
she was
That
trying
was
to
her
enact
comment?
some change in traffic, and I disagree. That should not be a 4-way stop. It'd be a
Is she
terrible
fully
4-way
clothed
stop.
or?
Why would you ask such a thing?
Well,
What
just
about
like
a
if you're trying to
roundabout?
attract traffic, you know.
Is she not a fan of roundabouts?
He's a pervert.
Throw
I'm not talking to
roundabout in
Wayne.
there.
I'm talking to Aaron.
You're kind of talking to our listeners. Just asking
No, she
questions.
wasn't. I know why you
was
asked
just
that,
like, is
though,
this like a
because
Lady Godiva situation?
We
What's
did
going
have an
on?
indecent exposure in that same general area is why you're asking that.
Okay.
Yeah. But no, in this case, it was not noted that she was clothed or unclothed.
All right.
Just that she wanted a 4-way stop. So I
Sorry
think that
for
should
asking.
be our Sirens Banger of the week.
All right. Sure. People's Champion of the Week. I don't know.
Yeah,
Do
we
you have
didn't look
anybody
too
big?
far. Well, Wayne, he drove all the way down here from Lacey today.
Yeah.
It
Congratulations,
was a
Wayne.
long ways to go for this podcast. Might be the longest anyone's ever traveled to be on this podcast.
It is my pleasure. I love coming down and talking to you guys.
We're happy to have you. I'm just glancing through to see if there's any other Heroes of the Week honorees that we should be looking at here. No, I think that's a good one. We'll give it to Wayne. I'm sure he's won it before.
This is my
probably.
4th time on the podcast.
It is.
The Four Timers Club.
We've got so many episodes now that I can't confirm or deny that. And I'm not
How
going
many?
back
You're
to
up to
listen.
172? Is that
This
right?
is
a lot.
175.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we'll get to
Yeah, I
200.
know. Nobody thought we'd make it this far.
Wayne was with us when we were still down in the old dark room downstairs. I believe he did one down there, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the OG location.
Let's see. Facebook comments of the week. I didn't
yeah.
prepare any. There's some stuff on the story about smelting.
Oh, yeah,
One-day
there's going to
smelt
be
fisheries
there's
set for
gonna be a
Thursday on
smelt
Cowlitz
run on
River. Is
Thursday.
that what's going on?
That's big news. I don't think we had one last year, and maybe we did and I missed it, but it's like a once in a year, maybe every 2 years, there's enough smelt. Those greedy sea lions haven't eaten half of them, so people are going to be able to fish for those on Thursday.
You guys ever ate smelt?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
I'm a big fan. Have you had it?
No.
Yeah, that's pretty
I'd
good.
try it. I'd be down.
It's a little fishy, as you might imagine.
Yeah. It's like a little anchovy type thing. Right?
Yeah. They're little. I've been down there to cover it when people would just kind of like stick their net in there and pull it out, and it's just like completely full.
That's what you do.
Yeah, but then there's other years where they'll go down there and do that, and there's like maybe 3 in there. But you'll just get the sea lions just charging back upriver, downriver, upriver, just filling up on that stuff.
Wow.
So they love them. But it's a endangered fish. We're gonna send Cody down to that right before Legislative Day in Olympia.
Oh, he'll have fun. Is he going to make Legislative Day too?
Oh yeah. I wouldn't go to Legislative Day without Cody.
Well, he's, necessary. Let's see. The rest of these comments are just kind of
You're sifting through the comments in real time, aren't you?
I
There's
am,
got to
yeah.
be some good ones.
Yeah, you could just ignore him.
Mitchell Townsend's got some takes as usual.
Oh yeah, he does have takes.
I
I haven't got a letter from him in a while though.
can't believe he's a city councilor, school board member. What is he?
I think he's a school board
He
member.
holds office out there.
Yeah,
He teaches a class on Bigfoot.
he taught a class.
What?
That was like 5 years ago, 6, 7, 8 years
People
ago.
don't forget.
Are his comments wild?
They're interesting. I don't insult commenters or letter writers, of which he is both, or adjunct Centralia College professors.
Yeah.
It's okay to just move past it, Aaron.
All right. Sure. Let's see. What's in the next edition? It's Monday.
Well, shit you
But
missed.
we are going
as
to post
well.
this on Wednesday.
That's what you say, but I'll probably post it tomorrow.
I know.
Well, I mean, the news gets stale by then. The AAUW annual used book sale, which I know is big news, near and dear to both of you, is March 21st through the 23rd. You go to that every year, don't you?
I do. Pick up some books.
I think you can donate books now through March 11th. Info on that all at cronline.com, and that supports scholarships for young women in the community, so that's good. We're getting an electric charging station in downtown Centralia.
Ooh.
I know. Do you drive an electric vehicle, Wayne?
I do.
Do you really?
I've driven one for about 2 years now.
We were actually, after we left our other office right before this, we were wondering what you were going to pull up in. What is it?
Tesla.
Tesla? Nice.
Model 3.
Recommend?
Yeah. I mean, I was skeptical, and at first I got into a Chevy Bolt. I think Chevy Volt. It was kind of a lower end, a little cheaper, and like with all the rebates and stuff. I was first brand new car I've ever bought in my life, and with all the rebates, I think I only paid like $15,000. And then a year later, when I sold it for $25,000. Like great investment, you know.
Yeah,
and then
worked out.
it was a good test run on an electric car. Everything worked out, saved me a bunch of gas money. And then I upgraded the Tesla, and it's fun to drive and it saves me gas money, and I don't have to worry about going to the gas station in the morning, and it's nice.
No horror stories? You haven't broken down on the side of I-5?
Nope, not yet.
All right. Well, you know who to call if you are.
Who's that?
Not me.
Ah,
You can call the
You
roof
get in
doctor.
every day and you start it up, and it's like, here's what you need to agree with, and it's just the Elon Musk Twitter feed.
yeah, right. Except
here's how you
all
think about
these
things.
conditions.
We've got Minuteman Press, friend of the newspaper, Daryl Lund. They purchased Carroll's Printing. That was big news.
Oh.
Mitchell's done a couple good stories on the capital gains tax and the the initiative to have that overturned. And he wrote a story that kind of would blow a nearly $6 billion hole into state education funding, which the Republicans contend could be made up for in excess insurance commissioner office spending.
I don't think that's true.
That's what I heard. So that one's pretty good. He also got the number, and I already told you, so I asked Wayne, how many people in Lewis and Skamania County combined, I have no idea why it's the two counties combined, would be affected by the capital gains tax repeal?
Tell me.
No, just guess. Just throw a number out.
35%.
Well, John-
8 people.
8 people?
8 people. Yeah, 8 people total.
But John Braun led me to believe that it would affect all of us.
I don't remember John Braun
He
weighing in
wrote
on
a
that one.
tersely worded
Oh,
column
he
about
probably
it.
did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was super interesting, and then it launched a 30-minute debate on who the 8 people are. I'm trying to identify them.
Identify yourselves.
Your super wealthiness.
Yeah.
So that one was good. Let's see if we got anything else here I want to hit on. I think that's the long and short of it. As always, there's lots of good news. Also bad news. That was the 3-year anniversary of the disappearance of Oakley Carlson, and we wrote about that. Probably the most frustrating story that we've had, I don't know, in my time around here. I just still cease to understand the whole thing. I don't understand how you can lose a kid and just not be in jail. It seems like
and
if
under
you do
jail
that-
under just random other charges.
Yeah.
I mean, the 2 people involved are easily put in jail because their whole life is a disaster.
It seems like they can find something anytime they want.
And they should be, but they should. I mean, they need to get to the bottom of that. But it's how many counties does that involve? How many jurisdictions? There was some random house fire that was involved in her disappearance, and
it just feels like the longer you get away from it, the more likely you're not going to get any sort of conclusion that works for anyone. And I guess I should say that that's very similar to me in my mind to Aaron Christensen, the East Lewis County shooting death, where you know the person that shot the person who admitted they shot the person, and yet we still don't have a single charge, like not even a misdemeanor, nothing.
Well,
nothing.
The disappearance of Nancy Moyer in Tenino. I spent a better part of a year working on that podcast with James Basinger, and at the end of the podcast, we sat next to a man that admitted to the murder.
Right.
And he admitted it to our face, right next to the hole where he allegedly burned her. And it's all on the podcast, Hide and Seek podcast, if you want to watch it. And that guy was initially charged, then they dropped the charges because they didn't want to, they felt like they didn't have the evidence to convict him, and they hoped that someday in the future they'd find more evidence to have a stronger case, and they'd charge him then because you can't do double jeopardy. But still, I very strongly believe that man that admitted to it, he did it. He killed her.
He did admit to it before he took back that account. I guess all 3, and maybe
he admitted it to us.
Right.
The day I went to his house, the day they let him out of prison, knocked on the front door. He showed up in prison garb still.
Wow.
And I'm like, hey, buddy, you want to take a walk out back and show us this hole in the ground? And he went back there, and we sat in the grass and essentially had a picnic with the murderer for 4 hours. It was one
so
of the
you
most,
100% he did it.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess all 3 for me illustrate a point, which is like at some point in an investigation, like all 3 of those, it's like, I don't care if you don't think you have the evidence, like let's give it a shot. Try to charge it. Maybe it doesn't work out, but at least you can say you gave it a shot. Like especially the Aaron Christensen case, not to pull it back because Nancy Moyer has been much longer and more frustrating, some would say, but it's just, you have the person that said they did it. Like,
at some point you'd like that, but then, that trial, what's that cost? $3 million.
Yeah, that's true.
And, are you doing it for show? But, these attorneys, they want to make sure that they get a conviction, and I understand the complications, but the frustration is equally understandable. But the Oakley Carlson thing is that is a very disappointing. just sad case. There's a lot of people that are upset about that.
A lot of people who care, a lot of people who contribute. I haven't heard anyone unhappy with the Grace Harbor County Sheriff's Office that are close to the case.
Yeah.
Like, they know that they're
It's
trying
the
their best.
circumstances that put that little
Yeah.
girl back in the house that really upsets
Yes.
people.
Yes.
And there was a judge involved in that decision making. And, you know, I work with judges now.
Mm-hmm.
It's a system that exists where, you know, there's little to no accountability for judges, and it really just comes down to the voting booth. But then when they can't campaign, they can't talk about the issues, you really can't meet with them and ask them about their decision making. They're protected and hidden, you know, behind a dais and, you know, a schmuck where it's almost like a priest class.
Yeah, I don't think you could say it better than that. It's kind of one of those odd situations where people vote on judges all the time, but 99.9% of people don't know anything about them.
Yeah.
Like, maybe you know someone who went before them and your whole opinion is based on the outcome of that particular personal case, but there's not like, you know, a body of work to vote on.
Yeah,
like,
and
if you're in another office.
There's never organized, unless there's some egregious situation, is there organized opposition to, you know, a vote. It's usually there's one person on the ballot. You know, it's a weird system.
I did see the Olympian had a full-page ad for the Oakley Carlson case that was highlighting the issues with CPS in yesterday's paper, the day before maybe. I do like that it's still getting attention. I think as we saw with Lindsey Baum, just because it's been a long time doesn't mean that there's never going to be a break of some sort.
Yeah.
But, yeah, damn, I think it's just a sad case. So anyways, there's a story. There's not much in the story. That's one of the things that I get frustrated with Nancy Moyer is it just becomes a thing you report on the anniversary. It's been 9 years. It's been 10 years. It's been 11 years. And there's like no break whatsoever. So I could see how you being close to that situation in the case of Nancy Moyer, and there is an enormous break, like the break, and then it just kind of goes away and we're back to doing anniversaries again. So I get that. But yeah, on top of that, we'll have lots of news in Thursday's paper, and Tuesdays is pretty good.
All right. We're going to close it out there. Again, we are sponsored by Summit Funding. Shayless Outfitters. Should we talk about them?
Gosh, we should talk about Shayless Outfitters.
Okay.
Go on.
You know.
No, I'm going to pull it up here. Let's see what their latest deals
They
are.
got one of the best shoe selections around.
Oh,
man.
they
I
do.
gotta give
Georgia
that.
boots? You need
want
some
boots?
Romeos?
You want boots? You go to Shayless
Head on over to
Outfitters.
Shayless Outfitters.
They currently are having their sweetheart sale. I'm glad you brought up Shayless Outfitters at the very end because
I bet
they
you are.
also have the Love Shack over there right
Oh?
now. Yeah, it's
So,
kind of
but
a.
pray tell.
Love
I'm
Shack.
telling. So after you're done shopping for your gun or your fishing rod or your Carhartts. I think they carry Carhartts.
They do.
Your Carhartts, all that stuff. You can go into the Love Shack and take a picture with this mascot of a pig. Looks like a Valentine's pig.
Nothing says love like a adult in a pig costume.
Oh, a ton of people went in. Like, a lot of these pictures are of dogs, like very good dogs, by the way. And what you want to do is go follow the Shayless Outfitters on Facebook, and you will know when it's going to be open again. But yeah, it looks like fun. I might take my dogs there. I've decided.
I certainly hope you do.
A ton of people used it though because they posted.
I want you
well
to take
over
the
100
baby down
photos.
there to get a picture with the pig.
Oh, I should take my
Take the
down there.
baby.
Some of these pictures, though, the pig's not in the photo. Like, they were just like, hey, get out of here, pig.
Yeah.
And then they just took the photo with their significant other. And there's some nice Valentine's Day stuff on here.
Shayless Outfitters sells all your favorite brands: Carhartt, Georgia Boot, Key, Timberland, Ariat, and Danner. Danner makes some good boots. Visit C&B Outfitters, all one word.com to learn more, or you can give them a call at 360-200-5099.
You can also stop by there for flowers. There's lots of flowers there at Shayless Outfitters if you're looking to get that special someone something.
Are you going to stop by their headquarters at 1757 North National Avenue before 7 o'clock when they close every day?
I'll just say again, it's a destination store. Like, that's a store. That's like an outing. It's like going to a fine restaurant.
Get
you
yourself
know,
some
when you go to
popcorn,
Shayless
some boots, a
Outfitters.
gun, you know.
Toys? They got an
Fishing
excellent
license.
toy selection there.
Maybe a sprinkler.
Yeah, maybe.
Leave a review for this podcast on Apple Podcast if you want. It makes no difference to me, especially after this haphazard episode we've thrown together. Thank you for listening. And as always, Wayne, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.